And the stream should be coming up now. Awesome. Making sure YouTube catches everything, because the last thing we need is YouTube not to catch everything. Okay, looks like everything's coming up. Yep. Let me drop my YouTube quality now that I know everything's came up. And hello everybody, I hope you all are having a great weekend. Welcome back to YouTube Org. So we have an industrial problem, which I remember. That's why we built this. Hopefully that starts getting resolved. We have a small community problem, but we got that one set up. Let's view our favorite people who followed us. We have the 6 Knights. Their household is doing pretty well. Not a lot of kids, pretty old residents, pretty uneducated, but they're also some of the original residents, so not too bad there. Now, if we go here, we got Zach, our female Zach. She's extremely healthy, very well off, still works at Goods Unlimited, not too bad. She has moved, come on, okay, locate her, there we go. She is now staying in this house. She moved near the end of the last video. Yes, a female named Zach. So she's doing well. It doesn't look like she's in a relationship with anyone, so just a household with, or a family of 2 great adults, and then brother and sister. So not too bad there. So we're gonna continue up our game. And again, if you want to be a citizen, a district, a street, a building, anything in this game, just tell me and we'll work through the details and figure out where everything's going. The traffic circle is going pretty nice. I have done a test game this past week or so, and my traffic circle actually went pretty south quite quickly, so we might be buying some land up once we need it. Other than that, we're doing pretty good. Ooh, we have a cop issue. Do we have cops? Yeah, we have cops. So that should be resolved quite quickly. So, there's that. That's not bad. Okay. We're actually almost to our next milestone, so that'll be nice to get soon. I really like this. This is going nicely. Once we figure out what to do with this, we'll make this street bigger. It's just because of the dump here, we can't really move the dump without emptying it, and I don't have a place to put it yet, so. Ew, a lot of traffic there. Why is so many people taking this route? I'm not 100% sure. There's a lot of people here. I'm not 100% sure why there's so many people there. Okay, so we got a big traffic issue, which we're going to need to figure out. And it looks like as long as we expand this road to be bigger, I think we'll be fine. So let's tackle that real quick. All we need is a little bit bigger road. Yep, we can do that. And I think we're just going to go right across one into the other. Both these roads. There we go. And let's see if that resolves some of traffic issues. Oh, I redirected them. They now turn this way. But hopefully that also resolves some of the traffic issues. The ones who got redirected got all fixing themselves. Yep, we got fire here. It doesn't look on fire, but we have fire. Ooh, we got another fire. That one looks more on fire. But there's a fire truck coming to put them out. Oh, we got another fire truck right there ready to rush through and put it out. So people are safe. I really need to figure out what's with this traffic though. Because it's kind of ridiculous that none of these people are taking the other... Oh! That's why. No, that doesn't explain it, because you still have that one lane out. Let's set some things up. That goes that way. That one's gonna go that way. That's that way. If you want to go this way, you turn that way. If you want to go this way, you turn that way. These both can go straight. Yeah. These both can go straight through too. There you go. This is your U-turn lane. U-turn lane. Same here. Oh, and you have this one. Let's see, did that resolve some of the issues? People are still all rushing to go through that one lane. Hopefully that resolves some of the issues. Man, we got a lot of traffic here. Oh, I did not recall leaving this game with so much traffic. I do not recall all this, but hey. Okay, so traffic should break up now a little. Oh, that's just so much. Hopefully it breaks up now. That was a lot of traffic. We still got a lot of traffic to sort through, but hopefully it will resolve itself a little bit faster now. Yeah, now it doesn't look like we have as much of a traffic. I have no clue why everyone wanted to take this outer line, but hey. Yep, there you go. That traffic's being eaten up. And here's the last little bit, and then hopefully we won't have that type of traffic again. Oh yeah, I forgot. I was gonna go options. What did we do? No, it's not real time. Where is it? This one? Yeah, this one. Okay. Yeah. Disables despawning, enable advanced AI at 70%? No, 70. No, 70. So that enable more realistic parking. Good. Workers may enter, yep. No U-turns unless I specify. May turn at red lights, yep. Going straight on my, yep. Vehicles follow priority rules at junction with timed traffic lights. No, we'll go with that, sure. Nope. Yes, yes, and yes. Those are good, and those are good. Cool. It provides a little bit more of an intelligent driving system, less on everyone just following their own one-way path. Shouldn't change too much. Ooh, we got some traffic coming off the highway. All thanks to the Amish again. But it provides a little bit of a neat thing. We should fix this. This one road is... it's not too bad. It gets messy though. I don't like that. Let's fix that. Let's not try to do that. I personally like the better ones. I imagine we're gonna get more traffic coming in than out. Kinda actually gonna get more of a parallel, but we don't have any that I like yet. Let's try this. Let's try more coming in than coming out. And we'll continue it all the way through. Let's see what that does. It's gonna confuse them for a quick second, but we'll sort it out. Yeah, I think that works a lot better. Ooh, we got traffic building up here too. Just because there's so much in this area. So let's optimize some things here. Because I think this was a weird one. Yeah, I think this was a weird one. So let's turn off this. And turn off this. So sadly that means more traffic because it's going to be going up and around. But theoretically less congestion. In reality, we could actually make maybe this even less congested by removing this as an option as well. So now you have to, now this is basically a giant loop. Once you're on this path, you're going to go up and around and come back down here. Which hopefully won't make too much congestion. Yeah, this is congested. Oh, so congested. Okay, so you're gonna go that way, always. Or you're gonna go straight. You're gonna either choose to go that way, or you're gonna go straight. Oh wait, you can make a U-turn as well. You can go this way, or straight across, or this way. You are for this one, or this one.
Saddle up in the mornings with Jimmy and the Stallion, the only morning show featuring DJ Jimmy Fries and a 4-year-old quarter horse named Clover.
And I got the radio where it actually plays like realistic audio from the thing. The instrumental background music, that's the radio. Now it's playing an advertisement from the city actually, which is what I like.
Only on Cities Radio.
There we go. That looks better. Cops can fly right through. Beautiful. This traffic circle is weird, but it provides enough of a space to lessen the traffic output. Cool.
I'm not sure how I
okay, I think we got traffic settled again.
Maybe if there was a big chat room or a bunch of
we got fire here.
Colossal
There's our fire
ore.
truck.
We
Let's
are the
catch
leading
up with it.
producer of minerals, ore, and natural resources,
Whee!
which means you're benefiting from our services,
Move out of
whether
the
you know
way.
us or not.
Whee!
No matter what our critics say, at
Whee!
Colossal, we care about our employees, as
That
well
fire's
as our
on
customers,
fire.
which is why we work so hard to get our
Look at that fire.
miners back
So
in
hot.
the mines where they feel at home.
And there's all
Together, we
firefighters
can
running
reunite
into the building,
minerals
putting
with
it
the
out,
people
and
who
going
love
on
them.
their way.
Colossal ore. More than
That's good.
ore.
It's nighttime again, so stuff stopped. Amish
This is
is
City's
the reason
Radio,
to blame for this,
home of
so
music.
not too bad. I think we're good. I think we got the travel stuff situated again. I don't like how this is a giant loop around, but I guess it's good in the sense that it lessens traffic turning onto this road. Since if you're really gonna try to go down here, you just better go through and turn off. So yeah, I think that's good. Okay, we're losing people right now. I'm not 100% sure why we're losing people, but we're losing them. So I think we're gonna expand this neighborhood out. Ooh, not upgrade that to straight. That'd be really bad. So I think we're gonna expand it out. I think we're gonna put it in its 40s. Actually, if we go 20 or 50 there, we can cross connect, which gives people another option out of the city. We also want this one, which is there, and this guy who went down. So now we have a cross connect, so people can get out of the city if they so choose. We're gonna have you go up here, go over here like that. And go over here. There we go. Need some water because people like water. Okay, so connect those two things. And just so that we don't get in trouble anywhere with that little space. There we go. And of course, we're putting this all green. There we go. Okay, and it's nighttime again. So let me just double check, make sure the rear time is set correctly. Yep, cool. So there we go. Now hopefully we'll start getting people back. This is such a weird loop. I mentally cannot handle the weirdness of that loop. But it works. Okay. So there's that. Zach is 22 now. Congratulations, Zach. There we go. Beautiful. As you guys can see, I got more assets loading up now. I didn't show you this, but I actually got all the assets working again. Well, I removed ones that are no longer supported, so these people are working on long-term housing solutions right now, but not too bad. I love the houses right next to each other. It's like tick, 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 tick. Blatant clones. The Central Hotel, nice little location. Let's see. You're all walking, so let's go find you. There you are, there's Zach. Let's jump into her point of view and see. Oh, that was quick. Oh no, she's getting in her car? I don't know. The game's like, oh, yep, she got in her car, but the game wasn't tracking that, so. I was like, the game, okay, disregard. The game's like not following her in her car right now, so we just have to manually do it by ear. So yeah, Zach's on the weird loop thing. I don't like it, but it works. East Miller Street. Zach has a nice car. I like the little Ford pickup truck. So now, so I guess Zach's commute's a lot longer now. If Zach's parking there to go to work, so that's the other downside, is commutes are longer, but the great thing is that I can quickly catch here. Aw, come on, Zach, you were going so well. Catch the outer rim, transfer to the middle rim, and turn home. Yep. That goes, I think she's gonna go straight through. Is she going straight through? Yes, she is. And she's stuck behind the Amish. But hey, that's not too bad. So you see the traffic load is not horrible. It just means that every truck's gonna go through this loop if it goes down that path, so. Which to me is bad, but hey, it is what it is. You know, I'm sure to blame for that traffic delay. This road is cleaned up, which is good. We have low happiness. Yes, we do. We should make them happier. Let's see, how can we make them happier? Well, we got this nice new neighborhood that's being built up. See if we can give them something to talk about. Put a garden of sorts. Japanese place. What is this? Dog park? We could put a dog park. That wouldn't be too bad. Space occupied. Oh. This one requires it to be, I don't know how this is required to be like that. What is this? Campground. Yeah, so I guess you put it out here and then you connect to it. Drive-in movie theater wouldn't be too bad. Which one's bigger? I think it's this one that's the big one. Yep. Okay. Let's do that. Let's have a movie theater. Drive-in movie theater. Let's place it. Let's place it right here. Oh, thank you, whoever just subscribed to me. There we go. Nice little drive-in movie theater. Showing a movie about giving up. But I like it. I also like that it's angled, so that it looks, it's kind of like you pour in either on the front or on the back. Nice little drive-in movie theater. Nice, nice, nice. Okay. This little place, nothing too new that I can see. Dollar Tree. Got a bunch of new little commercial things, so that should be good. That should bring up some happiness once it starts operating. Again, if you're watching and you want to become part of this city, we always can add another citizen to follow or a new building. Building could either be a pop-up one like these, and if it is, it will be historic, or it could be like an actual plopped one that I put down. So, all police stations are all full. Let's see, can we resolve that right now? Yeah, we could. Would it be a good place to put it? Let's put one right next here. That wouldn't be too bad. Put one in the little neighborhood right there. I put it here. If I put it here, that won't be too bad, except it destroys that. If I put it here, I think I leave the one. We'll find out. I don't think there's one. Yeah, I took the ones out. That's not too bad though. Nice, another police station. Keep crime down. Keep gears up. Gear space up. And the no, it's not operating yet, but getting there. Getting there. Okay, and it's daytime again, so we're gonna start having things start getting built up. People moving in, buildings starting to build again. So, this entire neighborhood's being populated. Okay. So I think we're good there. I don't know what we should really do. I guess districts. We can start getting some of these districts back. I guess Prospect Hill can be a big neighborhood all the way back to here. I guess. Not along with Pleasant. But I think that's as far as we're letting those two grow. Prospect is just going to be a huge area. Okay. Let's see. I think if we go to buy land, I think this one would be nice to get. Or the beach. Beach or rail. It all depends. Oh my gosh, look at all the people who just moved in. Or out. Why are we losing so many people suddenly? This is strange. We're just like losing people like... I think the game's broken because it says we're losing people, but I see the number going up, so... At least our budget's not that way too. That'd be really bad if our budget was the same way. Traffic's still kind of rough here, but it's at least flowing. I can kind of blame the Amish vehicles for the slowness in traffic. More buildings being populated. Yeah, let's see. Yep, we got a fire here. Luckily, we got put out. Good job, fire truck. Okay, so I think we are gonna build out in this way a little bit more. Get some population. Which also means just populating this road. This road's gonna become a main. I see it. With how much traffic it keeps gathering. I don't know if there's many. And in reality, it's not really Amish, it's the Amish vehicle. Let's see if I can quickly find one. Really, just look for a long road of traffic. Yep, right here. Amish buggy. It's a vehicle that I like. I like the vehicle because it gives the city like a trait, but the downside is it's very slow, so it blocks up traffic pretty quickly. So, but it's nice. Apparently there's no passengers in this, so I guess you got a self-driving car right here. But don't really have the Amish community, but it's still fun to play around with it. Once we get another about 350 people. We'll have another set. So I think we're gonna build this neighborhood out because we'll get more people. We're gonna go take it all the way to the limits. We got another little street can pour out, so let's pour that street out. I think we're gonna pour that out straight, and we'll just have that crookedness. I don't like. Okay, let's get this lined up. I think this would be right. Either I just knock. Nope, perfect size. Good. Do it. And we'll just connect it to the back, even though. Ooh, sorry. I know that's gonna disrupt all of them. Let's put residents in. Let's make sure these residents people have water. There we go. And that looks good. We're gonna have people start popping up all of a sudden. There's one already. Beautiful. Movie theater or drive-in theater is operating normally, but not a lot of people are going to it, which that sucks, but at least it looks popular. And apparently since I have a road on both sides, they pour cars right through. But that's kind of neat. I wish I could adjust the asset a little bit to show like a little driveway area, but that's nice. Just give up. That's Viva Theater. Okay. Traffic's flowing. A little slow, but not too bad. Not backing up anywhere. Just coming off the highway, you can just have so much traffic all at once. So, gotta build up here though, but that's fine because it's gone now. Gonna have some build up here, but again, oh, this is industrial, so it's always gonna be moving. Here's mainly my concern, and this seems to be back down to its normal pace. So there's the 6 Knights house again, doing well. I'm almost about to upgrade again, so that's be nice.
At the Forest Foundation, we care about 3 things. Tree things,
We
nature things,
are
and
getting
the
built
third
up.
thing,
We're
bird
gaining
things. The
population.
homes of
I
native
think
birds
we're
are being
pretty much
destroyed
set.
at an alarming rate. That's why our goal is to give a birdhouse
Nice
to every
little
bird on Earth.
neighborhood here
Humans
now.
stopped living in trees ages ago. It's time we invited birds indoors with the rest of us. Do your part
Yeah, we
and
can
text
grab
Dirty
this
Birdie to
little guy.
3030 to
We'll
donate a
take a
bird
quick
bath to 30
tour
birdies.
of
You can either be part of the
the
problem or you
neighborhood.
can be
There's
with us, the
Starlock
Forest
or Sherlock
Foundation.
Coffee, McDonald's, car wash.
Elle here. I have a question for you guys. Do you ever wonder how the mailman delivers mail to the
Boston
whole city
Pizza,
every day?
Down and
what
Out
about when mail comes
Burger,
from another
Big
city?
Bite,
He has to go get it before
nice
bringing
little
it here.
places to
I
eat.
can see why
Now we're in
stamps
the
are so expensive.
neighborhood.
Anyway, if you're listening, mailman, this one's for you.
I love the mountain background in this neighborhood. Very lovely. I don't know if we're gonna keep going straight. Yep, we're gonna keep going
They are
straight.
also composed of
Beautiful.
industrial plastics polymers controls. We
Nice
also
little
know
neighborhood
each one's
area.
in the car that is more important than the car itself. And that's why it can also carry
And
up
this
to
is the
300
house, so
kilograms of human,
that's
animal,
their
or
house.
consumer goods cargo. The climate control device brings the air temperature to
We're
20
climbing up
degrees Celsius.
population-wise
It's
nicely.
cars comfortable for the majority of mammal species.
We might have to
In
make a
fact,
new
it is a
neighborhood
perfect
soon,
vessel for transport from
which
short
sucks
and medium
because I'm
distances.
I'm
Want to
actually
move
content
to
with
the
how this
rise
neighborhood
of
looks, and I don't want to grow it out more, but
Stern.
we need population, and there's really not more places
Don't
we
you
can
want
get
money for nothing?
population,
Yeah,
so
you do.
we might
What's
have
the
to throw it
catch?
out.
There is one. Anyone who
way.
wants it can have it. You just have to ask for it. Our 3-day sleepaway camp is the perfect place to strike it rich. Who
Which
are
means,
we? Well, we're the
sadly,
#1 dream makers in
Big
the
Bite
region. And
restaurant
you
might
are a
get
motivated,
destroyed
driven,
in the
confident
process.
individual who has a desire to make it big. Run! Don't walk! Get your heart rate above 120. This is exciting. This offer is just for you because you deserve it. Come alone. So don't wait. The early
So
bird
we
catches
got-
the worm, and the worm is a bus at
We got
143
Greenway
Industrial Way that leaves at
and
dawn.
West
So
Greenway,
grab destiny by the horns.
which are
Go
both
on,
really
grab it.
nice.
It's yours for the taking.
I kind of want to rename this street South Greenway
You're
or
listening to Cities
North
Radio,
Greenway.
the best music
Actually,
from
wait.
around the globe.
North Greenway. This would be North Greenway. I kind of want to name that one North Greenway. Of course, the highway we can't. Well, I'm not going to change the highway name, but it's up to you guys if you think we should name that North Greenway, or if you guys have a specific one you want to be named after. I think, yeah, this is, it doesn't show too good in the lighting, but this is the Pancakes International. Nice little pubs there. What's this? Oh, that's a nice little house. Nice little house right there. So. Overall, not bad. Also, we need to start deciding which property line we're going to purchase. Are we going to buy the other half of the lake? Going to buy the beach, the railroad, or the highway? Yep, some level ups. Did this one jump? Not yet. This one leveled up and they're upgrading right now. That's good. Yep, another one leveled up. This little guy. So it's gonna get replaced with a bigger, fancier one. Okay. I think we're gonna expand that neighborhood now. I don't think there's much more I can do on this end, except expand it, so. There we go. 30 out. And I am thinking that this is gonna be commercial. So, we're going to be safe if we add residential on this side, so we just did that one, so let's do this one, have it come out right about there. I think we'll be good. Have a little street to cross over if they want to do that. And then have a little alleyway for the newer residents to enjoy. I don't have that money yet. Let's build up that money real quick. I need $880. Come on. Up, 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 there you go. Oh, no. There we go. And one more. Right up here. I think we'll be good there. $880. And then plumbing. Once we get the plumbing, then we can add the neighborhood. People will most likely move in right quick. Come on, there, up. There we go. Now the plumbing. $640 or $660. Come on, give us the money. Money quick. Quick money, quick money. Oh, we're losing money. This isn't good. Buy new land? I don't have money to buy new land. Yep, up, up. There we go. So then, try to optimize our spending. Because this is going to be expensive. I think I only need to go up to that, so 880. We have the market, like people want to move in, we just need to get them a place to move into. Oh my gosh, come on. We just need to get them water and then we can move people in. Nope. Nope, I have to move it up further. Interesting, that cost me 1,400, but if I go one up, I get only 1,000, so we're gonna go one up. Okay. So, for right now, just to get people moving in, we're gonna see where the water is and fill out these sections. And fill out these so that there's more commercial. There we go. Because once we get people in, money hopefully will start pouring in again faster. Yep, we're running low on fuel here. Let's see, where is the fuel truck coming from? We got two coming, one's way out there, and the other is right there, if you see in the distance. So, hopefully they'll get here before it's too late. We're also on a not enough buyers, so we need to get more buyers. Which means we need more people, which we're getting. We're getting people as fast as we can, guys. Not enough buyers, I'm trying. I'm gonna make this its own distinct little neighborhood. There we go. Oh no, we have a power issue. Oh, this is bad, this is bad. We need power. How far are we out? Please. Okay. Come on. Come on. That little Amish buggy is causing this issue. Oh, and he's taking the exit. Well, we're gonna have a power shortage, guys. This entire area is out of power. We have a blackout. And there's water on the road? Oh, great. That's lovely. That's exactly what we need. And a fire. Oh my gosh. Everything's blowing up. Let me get through this guy. Oh, that's the ice cube factory. Alright, fine. It's easier if I just go here. Which one is it? This one. Cool. Yep. This one. Yep. Come on, truck. It is slowly climbing that hill. Oh, the Amish cause so many issues. Not in real life, just in this game. So many issues. Oh my gosh, look at the power. It's slowly creeping. The power is just slowly creeping up the city. We're gonna have no power soon. The entire city is gonna be plunged into darkness, all because of this one Amish buggy that has a driver. It looks like. So who to blame? Nope, it's not. It's not even. It doesn't even have a driver. Can't even blame it. Thank you! People are starting to turn off. Yay! And this is all guys. Yep. Go, go, go! Oh, traffic build up. This isn't good. And that guy's stopping there. Come on. Get going. You got people behind you. You got power. Look at all that power. Drop your load. Drop your load. Drop your load. Drop your load. Yay! Power can be restored. Power is restored, everyone. We're all good. We're only $1,000 in the hole because we have no power. But hopefully that will start rising quickly. Oh, that was too close for comfort. And again, everyone has to make this weird loop around, but hey, it keeps traffic somewhat reasonable. We might want to set this up though, because this is all confused. Actually, no, it's not too bad. It's really whenever they come that the traffic gets tough. Seems hazy. Yes, we are in smog. No smog. Smog. Tons of smog. Let's see. Air pollution. Pollution. There we go. This is all polluted. So, yes. Smog. Not smog. Fire. I see a fire truck coming. People are gonna die. Where's the fire truck? Where's the fire truck? Oh my gosh, the fire truck's all the way over here. Oh no, even more buildings on fire. This isn't good. This is not good, guys. Look at the disaster, the devastation. Where is he going? He's going all the way up. Okay. We already got one here. He came a lot faster. There we go. There's the other one.
These gentle and graceful giants.
Look at all the fires. All the fires. Yay! No one died.
Vegetation of the time. Their mere existence
we need more
transformed
people
the
though.
landscape and made a
There's
lasting
such a need of
impact
people
on our
right
world.
now.
It's that legacy that Dino Oil is proud to continue by using their eons-old dead bone goop to fuel your
So close to the
five-door
next
wagon,
milestone too.
making it the oldest form of recycling there is. Dino Oil. Embrace the power of
I don't know if we
bones.
have any dino oil. I think we do. Look, Dino Oil. Embrace.
Haven't you been hearing more about disasters lately?
Dino
I'm
Oil.
not sure if it's just me, but I feel like meteors and sinkholes just didn't happen as
No
much
one's
as
at work
they
right now, but
Maybe
Dino
I just
Oil.
wasn't paying attention. One
Oh,
time the street
great.
up
We're
on
already
my house
running out of
just
fuel again?
disappeared. It was there one day,
Please tell
and
me
gone the
we...
next.
Yes,
The weird
he's
thing
already
was,
in the
nobody
line.
seemed to wanna
Cool.
talk about it.
We already got
Maybe
another
it was
one
too
coming.
scary.
Where is the
Actually,
other one?
if things can just disappear
Way
randomly,
off into the
maybe I can
distance
disappear.
somewhere,
That
but
is scary. I need to play another song.
hopefully we won't have too much of a power hit.
Listen closely. It's the
We
sound
might
of
need-
refreshment.
We might want a backup power,
Pop soda refreshment. Pop
but we
soda.
also might want
Belch
money,
the
so...
best. We all want to be prepared. We all
All
want
we
to
need
be
is
sure that
200
the people we leave
2,400
behind
people,
don't
and we
think we're
can
jerks. That's
hopefully
where
start
final insurance comes in.
getting
We provide
bigger
peace of mind
population.
for when you rest in
Look
peace.
at all that traffic.
For a small
Whew.
monthly sum, you can spend
much
your
traffic.
final years knowing that Final Insurance has
There's
everything
so much
taken
traffic
care of.
here.
Final Insurance.
We
the
might
last
buy
insurance
here.
you'll ever need.
Just to
This is
get
Space
traffic
Radio.
out
I'm L.
of our
you know,
city.
like the letter.
Maybe put a little exit here to get on the back side so we can free up traffic on this end. Come on, people. Come on, climb. We need numbers to climb up. That road keeps getting hit with flooding. So, I don't know. Maybe we don't want it, because that would mean that would be a road I would have to manage. Man, this traffic circle is getting heavy. Are we 4 lanes yet? No, we're not. Let's solve that problem. First things first, am I going to have to... Slightly. So, let's just solve it. We want 4 lane 1. Do we have the money to solve it? 200, that's like 400 around, we can do that. Preoccupied. Why did it say space is already occupied? Oh, is it because this guy only can solve that problem? Move him back a little. There we go. And then upgrade. Upgrade. Upgrade and upgrade. There we go. Now we have a 4-lane traffic circle. Hopefully that will improve that greatly. And since I moved this already, let's move it so it looks proper. There we go. That looks better. Because now we can lie to ourselves and say this parking spot's for this house. Okay. Come on, people. Uh-oh. We lost 2 buildings. Oh, lost another one. Just because the traffic is different. Oh, we need power again. Here's our truck, Neo. No, he's right there. There's 2 of them actually. One's in the lead, one's in the back. Right? Yeah. But I'm pretty sure there's an Amish buggy. Yep. Right in front of him. Cool. Great. Awesome. My city doesn't need power or anything. We can just all be Amish. Okay. So I think I am going to do that. I think I'm going to buy this just so we can relieve some of the traffic pressure on the traffic circle. Unless you guys disagree. Yeah, this traffic. Actually, maybe not. We got a fire here, guys. I know how much you like fire at the plastic mode. Here comes the fire truck. Whee-oo. Now the downside is this fire truck's gonna stop right here, and traffic's gonna build up because no one can go around. Oh, and we got it spread, and that yes, cool. That fire truck's gonna make sure it doesn't actually spread. Sometimes they do that. Sometimes they just leave and let the next truck do it, and I'm like, yay, World Boomtown, awesome, we got it, yay. So now we can build a bunch of these things, new roads, a bunch of new roads, heated piping, bunch of new things. We can make toll roads. We can make geothermal power stations now, disaster response, all that stuff. So that's great. We got a lot of money, and I think they want us to build a public library. But in reality, I think we're gonna not, unless you guys have a desire to build any part of land, we're not gonna build any land, and we're gonna just continue building this neighborhood out. We're gonna take it out here, build a huge neighborhood area. Sure, cool. Build a huge neighborhood area and let that be like our new standout point. So we're gonna just take this road out until, let's go 4,000, 420. Take this road, cool, new building, okay. We're gonna take this road out, let's say 8,000, that sounds like a good amount. And we'll carry this road all the way across. And we'll carry this road out about here-ish. And then we'll do some fancy trickery. Make a nice little curve area like that. Beautiful. Nice. Put a neighborhood here, put a neighborhood here, we'll be fine. We're actually gonna quickly district out these neighborhoods, so we'll have one right here-ish. And then we'll have one right here. There we go. Ooh, might run a little too far in there. Close enough. We'll just adjust right there. Okay. So we got Florence District and Kent Heights. So if you guys want to have a district name and be there during the creation of said district, this is really your opportune time. We're going to quickly build up this district. It's not going to follow the rules I want to have. I want it to have enough space. Yes. There we go. Then we'll have one coming down like this. And another one coming down like that. Across like that. And then one coming up here. And another one coming up here. There we go. That looks nice as a district. Now, this one I'm actually going to put another road through, even though it's not going to pull out anywhere. I think it's just traffic-wise, it's going to be better if we put another one through. But first things first is we want one that's going to keep up with everything. So we want that. And here we want one right there. And we want it to there seems to be good. So I think we might add another street right. Add another one right there. And I think we're gonna expand this out a little. There we go. Right here. There we go. And then we'll have the one street go right down the center, right here. Actually, we could connect there. If we're gonna do that though, I'm gonna let it naturally kind of have its own curve to it, which is gonna make some houses look a little strange, but I promise you it's gonna be worth it. That'll go there. Nice. And then I think we're gonna have it right in the middle here. Just connect across. Oh, okay. Oh. We want it right across. Thank you. Costs too much money. You're correct. I spent a lot of money building this neighborhood. I spent, what, $35,000 to build this neighborhood? And we're losing money by the second. This isn't good. Okay, we need to budget some things. Okay. Built a little too much too quick. So let's increase the cost of everything by a hair. Like 11%. We'll drop it back down. We need the money to finish up this building project, and then once the pipes are in and people start moving in, we'll make a boat ton. There we go. I didn't actually want one coming out that way, but sure, we'll go all the way. Okay, now we need pipes. We're gonna need one pipe going all the way down here, which needs a lot of money. So there's that one. We need another pipe right here. Make sure I'm not getting any notifications or anything. Connect one here. Okay, come on. Cool, red chores, don't care. I'm trying to make money through taxes right now. Okay, now we just need to quickly provide water to everyone. On. Nope, 1, 2, that. Okay, we'll add this one that way. There we go. Now we just that real quick. And right here, space of audio. And then we'll drop taxes back down. Okay. Pause. And we have a bunch of people dying. we definitely do need cemeteries. How much is a cemetery? 8,000. We'll quickly gather that and then plop it down. Plop it right here, right in the corner. Oh, yes, we have people dying like insanity. I don't think we have the time to wait for it, so we're just gonna take out a loan just to satisfy the people. I don't care about the bus service, that's not our biggest concern right now. People are satisfied. Okay, now zoning. This is all gonna be blue. And this is all gonna be green. And play. Also, let's reduce our tax real quick. There we go. Now our taxes are going to go down rather quickly, but hopefully this guy will start working. We'll start taking out our dead. Look at all the dead. So many people dead. There's the horses. Look at the horses. It's like a funeral tray almost. We're gonna come back around and do that kind of loop. Shortwave radio tower for disasters. We definitely need one of these. I'll plop one right where I regularly plop one. And since that's the police station, we'll just line it up. Get it look nice. There we go. And I recently learned that you should want a road. A small road to reach out to. If I can get one. Find a small road to reach out to. The reason why is because sometimes it will be on fire. And every now and then, when it's on fire, you might want a way to get to it. That way for us is Lewis Way. So, hopefully the horses are taking all the dead as quickly as they can. Even more horses are coming. Look at that. Horse lane. All coming from this thing. All 10 horses are in use right now. I think we might have had a dead problem. We also have a financial problem right now. So we're going to actually increase taxes a little bit longer. Just so that we don't go bankrupt. Because that would be sad. So there we go. Because once people start moving in here, our taxes should start balancing out again. Hopefully. Hopefully I didn't just sink our town by making 2 neighborhoods. Hopefully. I'm so nervous that I just sunk our town by making 2 neighborhoods. So this is a shortwave radio blast in case everyone was into. Okay, we are gathering people again. Once we get about
Hi, I'm Greg, owner and founder
500
of
positive,
Steel Frame
I'll drop
Sports.
it back down
Due
and see
to
what
unusually
taxes
short
line
fingers,
up.
which are a characteristic of my family line, I was unable to play spots at the elite level I would have liked to. Instead, I invested my energy into getting you
I
the
might
lowest
upgrade
prices
these roads
possible on
real
athletic
quick,
gear.
though.
Unlike the local sports teams, you can count on us every year. I fight every day to get you the best deals. I'll never drop the ball on prices, and that's because low prices and my customers' happiness are not affected by the short fingers mentioned earlier in the advertisement.
And we'll do that
Just
the same
remember,
here
when the
too.
game's on the line, who do you count on? Steel Frame Spots. That's who. Check out our ad in the Weekly Nickel.
There we go. So
Out here.
now,
Question for you guys.
theoretically, they always can go through the center unless you are stopping on one of these two corners.
Comes from another city, and he has to go get it before bringing it here. I can see why stamps are so expensive. Anyway, if you're listening, mailman, this one's for you.
We are the law. Accountant. The law accounting. I know what you're thinking. Are we lawyers? Are we accountants? Well, it's a complicated question, probably requiring the services of a
All
lawyer.
3 lanes are
An
capable of
accountant. Is
turning.
that us? Well, what do you think?
Yeah,
Seems
there
to
you go.
me that there's a lot of you out there who might need the use of the law accounting. But that's not legal advice. That's life advice. In fact, we're legally barred from providing legal advice. The law accounting. Officially unlicensed since
And we'll do the same
2005.
here.
You're listening to
Right
Cities
here.
Radio, the best
Okay.
music from around the globe.
All 3 lanes can turn in. 2 lanes are fine there. And this should be a 3 lane as well. All 3 lanes can turn. That should get traffic flowing a little bit faster. Because now you don't have to worry about which lane you're in. Yeah, look at that. Traffic's flowing beautifully. This neighborhood is expanding rapidly, which is exactly what I wanted. We had a population issue before. Way too many people. Now, sadly, I disrupted the commercial sector here, but I do love this little house. This little house right on the corner. I bet it's noisy as nothing, but it's a nice little house, though. Where are they? Oh, because there's traffic lights here. We could actually get rid of those. Let's do that. I don't think it needs to be traffic lights. I think this should be the year doors, but beyond that, I don't think there should be traffic lights. This will be priority, this will be yeared, priority, yeared, priority, yeared, and yeared priority. There we go. So now they wait until they can get a spot, and then they all slam in. Beautiful. Now it does mean if this traffic circle gets clogged up, no one on these outer circles are coming in. So, you know, plus minus there. So like this right now. So. But I don't think we're gonna have too big of an issue with that. That population control is great. I think we can try to drop our taxes back down to 9. Yep. Let's see how bad that hurts us. Oh, we're close. Oh, I don't know. We'll see how bad it really takes us down. No, it's coming back. Good. So we're good. We'll be back in no time. Commercial sector is opening up, which is nice. That traffic circle is flowing nicely now. Hiccup in the ward. This is a huge neighborhood, so this is going to result in a lot of traffic. So, here we got crime. That's not good. Well, hopefully a cop's coming to deal with that criminal. Or that crime rate. It's in the middle of the circle. There's the little cop. Bye-bye, cop. Ooh! Ooh! That fire, though. It's on a main street, too. Where are all my firefighters? You went all the way up and around. Oh, okay. I think I know why. Okay. And he's behind a slow car. It's okay. Take your time, little red sedan. Take your time, it's fine. We just got a blazing fire on the corner, but hey, it's all fine. Let's go, put out the fire, firefighters. Do it. Yay, fire's out. House is a little toasty, but fire's out. And that's the main thing we're trying to achieve here. And we're back in the positives with normal tax brackets, which is great. Number one. I think this traffic's actually pretty good. Let's see what our percentage is traffic-wise. 90%, guys. We have 90% traffic flow. This is the only place where it gets heavy, and there's really no way to make it less heavy than what we have. Like, that's pretty impressive. Like, 90% traffic flow. Nice. So, let's start saving up money, because we got a lot of purchases to make. I think we need to get a high schooler in, we need to get buses in, taxis, all that stuff. I definitely think we need a bus, because we need a bus to take out these people and get them to these jobs without adding a lot more traffic. So, not bad at all right now. We actually have 0 rating. Up, lower one. A little bit of one. Lower one again. Literally, we have more land for them to fill than they have places to actually be. My question is, what's our power demand? Power demand's pretty high, so we might want to build a power station soon. There we go. Nice little circle. Yep. Nope, fire. This house, yep. How long is it gonna take? Nope, taking the quick way. Yay! Fire saved the day! One goes into the house, the other puts out the flames. Good. Not even barely a burnt mark on it. So how are you guys doing? You enjoying it so far? Oh my gosh, I totally... Oh no! Zach went away! Zach went far, far away. Zach left us, guys, at the age of 26. I mean, she went far, far away from us. Which that's sad because now I can't look up anything. But our last job was at the busy corner store. Last activity was being at home, packing to head out. So if Zach's on and wants to add it, or if... Hello, Creamy McLeamy. If Zach's on and wants to be made into a building or made a new character or whatever, just tell her. Oh, it's Zach? Awesome, you are on. Cool. So, sadly, you left us. But if you want, we can add you as a new citizen, or we can do whatever you want, whatever you're interested in. Or if you're not interested at all, that's fine too. If you want, I can start narrowing. Ah, okay. So, huge neighborhood, which I'm happy about because that's going to give us time to build up that money. So, let's continue going. We do need a power station soon. Yeah, I actually did some test streams before, and found the radios and just was going through them. This one has actually like decent music, and then it also has commercials with names from things in the city. So, a little SWAT car, just patrolling the area. Now, hopefully YouTube doesn't get antsy with the music and gives me a copyright. You were at camp today? How was it? Was it good? You enjoyed camp? More shell. More foul oil. Starlight. Sally's. Pennies. You liked it? Awesome. AutoZone, the graveyard, the marketplace on the corner. I guess if you really like strangers, you can go to that marketplace on the corner. Let's see. We are actually getting money now. How is our power demand doing? Our power demand's actually not too bad. I might postpone it. Are we able to pay back our one loan? Not yet. We're getting close though. We're getting very close to paying back that one loan. And then we'll have skyrocket in profit again. Oh, nice! Well, I hope you the very best with your lucky someone. Let's see, I think I have a church set somewhere. Come on. Yes, I do. So if you want, you can tell me the day, and if it's a day I stream, I can maybe add one. Or I can add one right now if you want. If you have a specific location you would like it to go. I'm recommending not industry. Oh, congrats. So I have a church if you want me to add one in honor of your marriage. Commercial is needing some things, but we're good there. Oh, I think we can pay off the thing. Okay, let's pay that loan off now. Let me make sure I didn't just screw over with the church plans then. Yep, I screwed it over. But we'll have it soon. We'll have it soon. So, any district you want it to be in? You got, I recommend Enemy Hills and Dale Hills to be off, but Elm Square, Pleasant Park, Kent Hill, Myrtle Park, and Forest Park, all on the table. If you want. Myrtle Park. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, so now the question is, do you want it in like the neighborhood area or right on the main street? Basically at Lynch Street, Emmers, Campbell, Evans, and Williams. And I guess Elizabeth Adams or Robin. All of those streets. Main Street. Okay. So let's find a nice little place for your church. Okay. How big is your church? Your church is about 2 by 4? Okay. So everything looks like it's bigger than that. So, except these ones. Which I would love to be able to delete cleanly, but it won't let me delete that clean. So I think we're gonna go in, I think you're gonna be right on the corner. Right there. Look at all the happy faces that building made. Nice little church. I like it. I like it right where it is. So there's your church. If you want, I can give it your name, or it can just be marked as Mountain Church, even though it's not on a mountain. And of course, anyone watching can be named a citizen or district or anything they so desire. Okay. Traffic circles gained. You like the name Mountain Church? Awesome. So we'll keep it that. Traffic's getting a little rush here. So, but there's Mountain Church one more time. Nice little area. I think if I tab, I can go in first person mode. Yep. There we go. Nice little area. There we go. You got work this morning? That sucks. Yeah, I'm right along with you. Work is never a great thing. But hey. Aw. My brother's gonna love that I added this asset in. It's from the Fallout series, Red Rocket. Yep. Brother's gonna love that asset. Bank of America right next door. Beautiful. And a little greenhouse on the corner. I need to move this one back a little. Move it back a little. Let's tilt it a little bit so it can be like that. Beautiful. Awesome. I'll catch you later, 45 Gunnel. I hate how I do something and then it's like, nope, I can't detect where that building is anymore, so let's remove it. It's like, come on. It was perfect. It was perfectly located. Little gas and pub right next to the giant radio tower. But hey, sure. Oh yeah. It's like, I'm trying to make it nice and perfect, and nope. Okay. So we're actually doing pretty good. We might, let's see, how much more? No, we got more than enough land still to have new people move in. The industry's staying down, so I think we're pretty good. Let's see if we can get somebody to give us a tour. Let's see where this little red car is going. And traffic's a little hit and miss there, but once you're in the circle, it's pretty flowing. Go. Look at that. That's a beautiful. I love the lighting. For 17. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that you feel like your family dislikes you. I'm pretty sure it's not as severe. I had certain times of similar issues, so. But at least you know I'm here. I'm going to continue doing this for as long as I can, which I don't see any issues on why I wouldn't be able to do this. So.
Square packages, the packaging specialist.
And we're gonna try to get your 10,000. We're gonna try to get 10,000 people in one city.
Story of the invention of the box.
And then we're gonna skyrocket through that and try to get even more. Try to get like 300,000 people in one city. A million people. If we could get a million people and my computer doesn't blow up before then, I think that would be quite impressive. So, the neighborhood doesn't look too bad.
Your home, and that truly is.
I could see living out on the neighborhood like this.
Every Wednesday at 8.
Oh yeah, 100 million? Oh my gosh. Think of like emergencies and stuff, like a hurricane or something came in. It would be insane. 100 million? Like,
I see people doing so many interesting
let's see.
things.
We're at
Working,
3,000 right now. And that's about this much. So we could maybe fit 10,000 in a square without high density.
In the meantime, let's play some
So
more music.
that's 50,000 there.
Italian leather.
That's
Italian threading.
90,000 there. Add one. That's 100,000 people right there.
And with an appropriate markup,
And we would have to own this map, like the entirety of this map, from those mountains all the way over there to that like shiny coastal area. I don't know what's going on there, but we would have to own it.
Hey listeners, you're tuned into Cities
Literally any disaster would be in the disaster zone.
Crazy if you think about it. How can we afford it? Anyway, we have a lot of great music for you coming up in between the commercials.
Actually, that's something we should start investing in. Now that you bring that up, we should invest in a disaster recovery unit. We have the space, we'll get the money, we should invest in it. Because it's kind of surprising that we haven't had a disaster yet. So we might want to invest in it before talking too much about having one. I also need to decide if I'm going to buy the next land up here, 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 or here. So beach, lake, highway, train. That's the next big decision to decide. Oh, building got built where I was going to put a disaster region. But I'm actually surprised we haven't had too many hiccups overall. This is a beautiful town. I love it. I love these lighting as well. I love this lighting effect. It just makes it look so nice. Oh yeah, go grab yourself a sandwich. You deserve it. Sally's. All the industrial places. I don't take many tours of the industrial. There's that. Fort Tech. Very nice one. Laminate flooring. More laminate flooring. Plastic mold, laminate flooring, Williams, laminate flooring, Fort Tech, laminate flooring, Williams, plantation, Fort Tech, Yeah. I need to find more industrial buildings, but I don't no many industrial like companies to get models off of. So actually, here's the next question. Do we go disaster recovery or do we go busing? Because this neighborhood's pretty large overall, and bus system might be good. Or education. We could go education as well. Oh no. Hopefully you're okay. Hopefully nothing too bad's going on. Let's see, how many people look at the Bank of America? 2 people. 3 overly educated. That's good. I always keep that. I actually have like in-flight bags. I have one near my desk, one on my carry bag that I take out to places, and then I have another one, I have one near my desk and one near in my carry-on. But it's the little like vomit bags they give you out on plane trips and stuff. Oop, there was a fire there, but our quick, fast response fire department saved it. A lot of choices we have coming up, and I don't know which one might be the best, but I do like having that flow going now. Having all that flow, like constant. Oh, be careful. If you're not buying a cheap one, I recommend buying completely new and getting those extended warranties and stuff. Uh-oh, we have a problem here. Not enough buyers. I'm pretty sure I cannot resolve that issue for you. Okay, it's gone now. I was like, I don't know how I have more people. Like, we're pretty maxing out. We're gonna expand this neighborhood out all the way here. There's a nice little neighborhood here. And then we gotta start building on this side, and that's gonna be tough. I do not know cars, so I'm gonna guess that is a very impressive car. But I do have a question. Are we buying education, transportation, or disaster recovery? Which ones do you think we should get? All 3. I don't have the funds you seem to have in this game right now. So really it's 1 for the next cycle. Unless we get a lot of population real quick. But I think we're saturating the population market, so I think we're good population wise. I don't think there's any way we could gain more population any quicker than we are. These Amish buggies, gosh. Luckily, we can even out the traffic load, which makes traffic a lot less slower thanks to the Amish buggy. Oh yeah, I don't think you were here. We adjusted this, so now when you come in, you turn right, you make the entire loop, turn left, go all the way down here before you can get out of the loop. Okay. I recommend ginger ale if your stomach is upset. Oh my gosh. Population's just... People just keep coming. It's like little bubbles. Boop, boop, boop. So, Mountain Church. Nice little house. Welcome back. I think because we aren't... Whoa! I have no clue what happened there. Like, just a bunch of bubbles just started popping everywhere. No clue. But because we don't have a lot more time in the stream, I think we're not going to do the busing this stream. Disconnected power grids. Oh, we do have a power issue. Yep, that was our choice. We're going to buy power. Yes, I have a slight lips, especially when I get excited, so I am sincerely sorry for that. Okay, we're just gonna solve a power issue right now. We just need a location real quick. Expand this word out real quick, and we will be fine. Here, there we go. I just realized we have like this weird commercial branch that's just sitting out here. That's interesting. Filling in gaps. Okay, towel. Okay, we'll put towel on this side. And we will expand this out industry-wise. There's that one, and that one. There we go. So, oh, this fire truck's gonna go into the loop. Whee! Oh no! Massive fire. 2 fire things. And it's not going to stop at the first one. Oh no, that means we're going to send another one to come save it. We actually got 2 fires, right? No, this guy's just making the loop. Oh my gosh, this is bad. This is bad. The loop's going to... Danger zone. Do not have fires here. Hopefully they can put it out before it spreads again. It's necessarily not hard. It all depends on if you can easily sway what you believe is going on. Because if you don't have 100% logic and you decide something has to be true and you're not willing to sway that, then it's going to be tough. We are losing money quickly again. And I'm not sure why. Can I buy off my loan real quick? No, it's still pretty high. Our population's growing, so it shouldn't. So traffic's pretty good now with a couple of plugins. So if you get TMPE, you get all these options, which these are nice to play around with. But if you actually go into your settings for TMPE, you can actually adjust the accuracy of it. You can adjust how, oopsie, I actually like it this way. You can adjust how reckless they are, speeds, all that. The AI for the driving, parking, all that, if you're allowing all that stuff and everything else, it's really not bad. Basically, I just recommend until, so I don't know if I have unlocked it yet, but I have, is this? No, new asset. No. This one. The, it won't let me put it down, okay. This one is what I regularly use for exits on highways and stuff. The, rest area and highway tron. Just because it's, to me, it's a lot better, operates better than that one. But until then, I regularly use, oh my gosh, so much traffic build up right now. As I talk about traffic, I have a traffic build up. All because the highway had a build up. I can't fix that. But now that traffic's open again, people will, come on, get that truck on. There we go. Now people will start flowing again. Traffic will hopefully start back up, or else I might have to decide. I have a problem here, guys. I'm gonna pause this and think about how I'm gonna solve this one. So we got every now and then. Are you gonna be live on Monday? Yes, I should be live on Monday. It might even be this game. So we have a problem. We have a lot of traffic that flows this way and one traffic that flows this way. And the traffic that on this side wants to get on this side. So we need to figure out a good way of doing that without interrupting this flow. We could always extend it a little bit bigger, make it a 6-lane. Doesn't really solve the flow problem completely, or wreck the traffic circle. Even if I don't even know if I can do it. Yeah, I can't do it unless I move the power plant, police station, and I can't do it. So we gotta solve this problem another way. And I knew this was gonna happen. I knew we were gonna need, coming up, we were gonna need a busing system, because as you can see, a majority of this is car traffic. So let's see, why are these cars merging? Let's see. We don't have rules for them yet, so they're gonna merge in there and they're gonna turn off. So I think we're gonna create some rules here. I think this lane can merge into this lane or stay out, or this lane can go forward or merge in, and this lane can go forward or merge in. Then all of these lanes can turn inwards like this. That should solve that problem. Once everything starts moving, there we go. Let's see. Oh wow, that's nice. Yeah, there we go. Now traffic's moving a lot smoother. People are still going to build up on the middle, but the middle isn't going to lock traffic up, which is what I really wanted. Still building up. We're getting better, but this infrequent traffic. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna solve this problem very quick. We're gonna make time.
Don't think we're jerks. That's where
set up a time node. We're gonna
We
have.
provide peace of mind for when you rest in peace. For a small monthly sum, you can spend your final
add
years
step.
knowing that Final Insurance has everything taken
We're
care
gonna
of.
go
Final
green on
Insurance,
here.
the last insurance you'll ever
It's gonna
need.
be at least let's say 30 seconds,
Haven't you
and
been
at
hearing more about
most
disasters lately?
60.
I'm not sure if it's just me, but I feel like meteors and
Flow
sinkholes just didn't
is
happen
less
as much when I
than.
was younger. Maybe I
After
just
a
wasn't
minute
paying
times
attention.
elapsed, switch
One
to the
time,
next
the
step
street
if the
behind my
flow
house just
is
disappeared.
less
It was
than
there one day,
the
then
weight.
gone the next. The weird thing was, nobody seemed to want to talk about it. Maybe it was too scary. Actually, if things can just disappear randomly,
I don't know
maybe
about
will
that.
disappear.
I
That
do
is
not
scary.
know enough
I need
about
to play
that
another
one yet.
song.
So add this one.
Bring
This
the
is the
whole
next one.
family to
Of
At the
course.
Old Grain Mill, old-fashioned family restaurant.
Add another step.
At
This
the Old
one's
Grain Mill
gonna
always
be
has the
this
best
one on,
service
this
and
one
the
off.
best home-style meals
30.
in town.
This one's
We'll
gonna
make sure
be
you
actually.
always leave At the Old Grain Mill with a smile and a full
Actually, no.
belly.
I think that's gonna be
Be
good.
sure that you come down to
Add,
At the Old Grain Mill,
let's view this one.
old-fashioned family restaurant.
So the issue
and not
with
the
this
abandoned
though
grain
is
facility
crosswalking
edge of
on
town. It's
both
not
are going to
safe
be
for
on.
visitors and poses serious
Let's-
risks to anyone who dares enter that old mill, which was forced to close down
How
years
do I
ago. We
change
ordered
this?
our
There you go.
uniforms
Good job.
before we learned of the existence of that dangerous old flour
So
mill,
there's
so
that.
we are not responsible for what
And then
happened.
this
there.
one,
Awful.
and we're gonna
We just want to focus
edit
on
this
making
one
great
and
meals
turn
every
this one
night
off as well.
at
Save.
the Old Grain Mill.
So now
Old-fashioned
both of them,
family
this
restaurant
crosswalk
at
is
the Old
pointless,
Grain Mill.
but
From
good.
our family to yours.
Awesome. Startup. Show counters.
This
Run.
is Cities Radio.
So now
Home of music.
60 seconds there. We're gonna actually go to the next one. Guys, you got a red light. You guys got red light. There we go. Nope. These guys still want to go. Okay. We need to, I think, just priority? No? Why do you guys still want to go? You guys have red light. Stop! Now you guys can go. They stop. Why do you not? Why? I don't play Roblox, so I wouldn't know 100% on that. Okay, we want to stop. That one's good. That one's good. Add a junction to this traffic stop. No. It should be good. Start. Okay, good. So they're gonna go. That traffic's gonna build up. I wanna keep watching that. It shows counters. So 40 seconds. Now it should switch over because it's 30 seconds with very low traffic. Nope. Up there you go. There you go. Now you guys go. You guys have the higher traffic. Why are you guys keep going? I have no clue why I'm not following instructions. Help? Why do you guys keep going? I mean, it's fine, but I'd much rather you guys stop. Okay. Stop this. We're gonna turn off this. There's a city in New Mexico called, yes there is, that is a truth. Remove. We're gonna remove this. I could toggle it manually, I don't want to toggle it manually. I'd much rather it just listen to what I want to do. Setup. There we go. Add step. There we go. Want it boot green, that's all. Good. High sensitivity. Extremely short green. No. That's extremely short. Let's do that, okay? If the flow rate is less than the weight rate, okay? Fine. Sure. Fine. No, I'm good. Add. Okay. Add another step. We want this one on, this one off, and that one like that. Good. Add. And that should be it. We'll move that one up just so we can start that one. Start. Show counters. They still keep coming! It scares me. It was part of a TV show. A TV show was called Truth or Consequences. And I think they had a $50,000 reward or anything if anyone could convince a city to rename themselves to the show's name. So that's where that comes from. Nope, both of them are red. I have no clue why this isn't working here. Both should stop right now. Oh, I have the AC on. So, sorry about the end of this stream. No. I don't want to disable despawning because that sucks. I want to clear traffic. The surfer's fine. That's fine. I guess I could put both of them to stop. Let's see, maybe that will help. At least they're stopping here. Let's see. Let's see how the rest of the town is doing since I've spent like a good portion of trying to figure out how to get them to follow traffic law. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Yeah, at least looks better. Actually, if you go through some of my archive videos, my face is in there. If you really are interested in seeing my face. The only reason I don't do it is because it's actually a lot of hassle to get it where everything's lining up right on stream. So, for right now, I just don't do it because of the hassle, but yeah, that looks a lot better. Why isn't the government doing anything to stop the fires? What fires? We have a water issue, I will agree with that, but I don't see any fires you're complaining about. We do have a water issue though. Water issue resolved. Okay. That junction's just gonna have to be that way. I don't like it, but it works. Because it slows them down. The first big test. Let's see how this works. Yep, that works. They're flowing evenly through, which is nice. Because all it is staging them. Basically, one row, one row, one row, one row. Like, that's literally all it needs to do. Now it sucks that they can't do that and like just flow when it's open, but hey, it's staged at least. There we go. Yes, I do wear glasses. There we go. Beautiful. There we go. I'm happy. I'm happy with it. Our budget's low. And I think that's because we're running out of space. So next time we will most likely add an additional neighborhood onto it. And ultimately next time we're gonna have to decide if we're gonna do this, or this. Because this is getting cramped. We can do it, but awesome! We both wear glasses. But I think we're gonna stop it here before I lose any more money. And we're gonna check some of our statistics real quick before we leave. First things first, the 6 Knights house is still there. It did drop. It was actually about to level up to 3, but it dropped. We need more educated citizens, so might work on that. Big city, almost 4,000 people so far. Trying to get it all into view. There we go. Power, we're pretty set on power with 2 power stations. That's good. The water, we're just starting to drop in sewage, so we might need to add that in about an episode or 2. Landfill, we're about half full, so we might want to add an additional landfill still. Education, we suck at education right now. We definitely need to bring up the ball in education. But we also added a huge neighborhood, so. Happiness, about fair happiness. Might want to add a couple more locations to make people a little bit more happy. Health, we are at 64%. That's not great. We might want to add some health. But death, we're good handling death. Levels, we're actually about split on the commercial side. Residentials, they're pretty much what you regularly have is historic higher, newer, lower. Industry, pretty much the same. Let's see, the wind. Wind's pretty much where you would expect, right over the mountains and where the water is. Since I got places to go and see you Monday, bye! Bye! Traffic. Our traffic flow dropped severely, so we might work on that. Pollution, not bad. Noise, pretty much on the main roads there's going to be noise, and then in industry there's going to be noise, that's fine. Fire, we are actually surprisingly handling it well, but we could do a lot better. We might put a fire station somewhere over here, just to cover this side.
The Brontosaurus.
Police, we're handling really well. We might want to put one on this side to just carry it through, because especially since our jail capacity is almost maxed out. We don't have any transportation yet.
It's that legacy,
population,
that Dino Oil
1% unemployment, which is really good. I like my unemployment as low as possible. 1% is really good.
Making it the oldest form of recycling there is.
Most of our residents are adults, so most people are working. 9 births and 2 deaths every 20 minutes. Pretty much mix on the imports, which isn't great, but exports, we only export goods. So
eating a sandwich. The city has a lot
value higher is here, highest in this area, but we need to add some here.
At Akio, we've been making the best of mobile phones for over 20 years.
We can
How did we
actually
get there?
start making this
By
or
putting
if we
ringtones
wanted.
in every commercial that make you
Let's
think your
see.
phone is
Let's see
ringing.
if I can figure out how
Whether
to do
you
this
have a
again.
new phone,
Yep.
an old phone, or just leave it on vibrate,
So
we make
we
sure
could
you
actually
always
make
hear your
this
phone in our
or.
commercials. It's
So
our
we'll
way
do
of
that.
saying
Industry's
we hear
gonna
you.
suffer
So don't be
greatly for a
silenced when
quick
opportunity
second,
calls.
but
Pick it up. It's
all
for
this
you.
is gonna look a
Akio
lot
Mobile.
better themed.
Gaze at a gazelle. Lock eyes with a lemur. Shake hands with a turtle. At the city zoo, you
Yes,
can experience the wild
I was
in
actually
our wildest
ending up,
exhibition
but I'll
yet.
quickly
Come
add
down
you
this weekend to
in.
meet our newest addition,
So
a
if
three-toed
you can
sloth
just give
named
me
Barbara.
details on like
She'll
if you
hook
want to
you
be a
with her
boy or
smile
girl,
and hook you again with her
and what
curved
name
toes
you
used to
want,
grasp
and
trees
then
in
I'll
the wild.
quickly try to find you.
After that, take a gander at another new species, a new type of bird previously identified as a
all.
different type of bird due to a zoological
We have a
error.
mix
Fun for the
match
whole
of
family.
various
Book
things.
now
Yeah.
and get a free handful of pellets to feed the
Same
fish. Limit
thing.
4
Cool.
per family while supplies last.
Boy
We'll look
Daniel,
forward
and
to
how
seeing
old do you
where
want to
the
be?
animals live in rooms painted to look like home.
How old do you
The
want to be?
city zoo.
Or just choose a random house.
Hey listeners, you're
check.
tuned into Cities Radio,
We
where
have
we've got the best music from anywhere in the
Boy,
world.
yes, we have
It's
one
actually
who's
really
14
crazy.
here.
Think about it. How can we afford it?
43 if you
Anyway,
want.
we have a lot of great music for you coming
I'm
up
15,
in
so
between the
15.
commercials.
We got 14. That's close. Let's see. I'll favorite him right now so that we can at least keep track. Let's see. 14. Oh, I found a 14 female though. Sad. Okay, that's good. Cool. So let's go to the favorites. You'll be the second one who has a person. Let's see. And I need to click on you so I can see you. Awesome. Now, what do you want your name to be? Name that. Okay, we'll do that. Awesome. Right now you're shopping. Let's go. You're shopping online, I'm guessing. Because you're at home. Got a nice little pool in the backyard. Very solar panel forward. Nice. Dad's oil. I don't know how to pronounce that one, so. But we'll keep track of you. You're in excellent health right now. Well off. You're just unemployed. So, there you are. You have a location in this town. And we will keep track of you throughout the entirety of this series. If you ever do go away, we'll quickly add a new one of you. Or if you want, you can become a district or something else. Thank you. I'm guessing you subscribed again. You were the new one who subscribed, so thank you for subscribing. I'm just quickly going through some of the statistics real quick before we exit off. There's no heating yet, no escape routes. Radio coverage, we might want to add another one just to get more coverage. No destructions, disaster detection. None of that. Tourism, we actually got 3 tourists. That's nice. Awesome. Thank you for being here. It helps me justify doing this. We're going to quickly check our statistics. Population's on the rise. Treasury. We need less of this. This was bad. This stream was bad money-wise. Budget. Our budget's going up. That's great. Great. Budget always going up is good. City value. We had a couple of dips during this stream, but we're moving up. Taxation is going down. Influx. We had a huge influx of population. 98. Oh my gosh, huge. No, they do have this on Xbox. I definitely know that. I don't know if they have it anywhere else. It's best on PC because it is a very mouse-centric game, but huge death rate. 6 people died. My achievement, look at that. I love it. 98% 10% employment. I love that. Available jobs. Great. We're moving up on available jobs. Our education is decreased. So we definitely need to move that up. Oh, they have it on the PlayStation 4 as well. So that's nice. Students, we are maxing out our students, so we definitely just need to get our education level up. Tourists, we're getting new tourists. We actually made money on the tourists, which that's always good. Okay, you're just watching until the end. I'm almost done. We're just checking out. Happiness, we need to increase our happiness. I've never been good at that, so. Residents, we're increasing that real quick. Commercial, we're getting good. Industrial, we're going. Office, not bad. Prisoners, we have a lot of crime. We need a lot of police stations. Cyclists, our cyclists have dropped significantly. I wonder why. I don't know enough about cyclists to know that. And we're good there. So I think we are good for the night. I hope you all have a lovely beginning of this week. I'll catch you all very quickly Monday at 5:45 roughly. Don't know if we'll be doing this game. Might be doing a co-stream with the Black and One again. Either way, we'll be glad to have you. Hope you have a great night. Bye bye.